Spire of the Watcher. That's what Guardians are calling a new dungeon spotted on Mars. But what is it? What's inside? Why are Guardians signing up to go? Welcome everyone to another Vanguard report. Kaz PhD here. Today's video explores the Spire of the Watcher dungeon from my perspective, a fellow Guardian. It is also the second part of a series, the first part linked in the card above and description below, which focused on the history of the Spire. To recap, the Spire was a bunker and installation built by cooperation between Clovis Bray and the Ishtar Academy during the Golden Age. While things were going very well for humanity at this time, some, like these researchers, worried about our potential survival. They developed the Echo program, a plan to send cryogenically frozen people to distant worlds. This program was developed and overseen by an artificial intelligence called Soteria, or the Augur Mind. This AI combined Clovis and Ishtar Vex technology to predict and simulate scenarios to ensure Echo's survival. However, during tests, when Soteria detected a distant anomaly codenamed Egyptian, it launched Echo early to try to save us all. Clovis, believing the AI had gone rogue, shut the program down, splintering Soteria's mind using the Pillory subroutine, and pieces of it were scattered among different facilities across our solar system. This story was lost, but recently uncovered. Ikora called me down to her study. There, she handed me a datapad, explaining that an old Seraph bunker had been found, springing to life as temporal distortions passed over Mars. She wanted me to look into it. While I could have declined, she pressed, saying that Osiris, now awakened, really wanted to go. Apparently, he had been having dreams of late, and believed, for some reason, that the bunker would validate his concerns. Ikora is not easy to read, but here she made her concern clear. Go, so he doesn't, Guardian. I could almost hear. I assembled my fire team. One member went ahead, alone, to scout the location. She noted a high degree of Vex activity blocking the path, attempting to get inside. Apparently the bunker connected to a nearby spire, but had been sealed before the collapse. Landing in, Anna popped on the radio, saying that the spire and bunker may have once been part of the Pillory program, and that even without the Vex here, we owed it to ourselves and Rasputin to check it out. Boots on the ground, we made our way in. Enemy contact, the Vex were here. The door was a Seraph-grade material and design. We could have blasted our way in, but that would just leave the Vex open to following. We needed to be clever. Unfortunately, the door mechanisms had rusted out, centuries of neglect and buried beneath the Martian sand. My ghost Lazarus shivered as a wave of temporal energy washed over us. That gave us an idea. Dodging Vex, setting up control points, my team went to work. We realized there was a component of arc energy within the distortions, that we could convert it into electricity suitable to the Seraph bunker. Back and forth, dodging harpies, we did it. Door was open. We made our way down. With a moment to breathe, we took everything in. We were inside a Seraph-Ishtar joint research bunker. At the time, we didn't know why this was here, what they had been working on. Remember, the recap I just gave you and the investigation before it were put together thanks to intel recovered from this dungeon. Information, databanks, and clues were gathered and analyzed, providing us backstory. But, during the mission itself, we didn't know. We pushed inside. Curiously, we found evidence of Aramis, leader of House Salvation, seeming to serve the witness. She had left audio logs on various terminals throughout the Spire. It raised questions. Why was she here? How did she get in? What had she found? Another thing we immediately clocked was that these Vex were from the Soul Divisive. Raid fire teams may recall the Divisive as the Vex who watch over the Black Garden, the Garden of Salvation. See, not all Vex look alike, and they don't all share the same strategy. The Soul Divisive are a group of Vex who, through early interactions with the Hive, discovered the power of the darkness and of worship. Rather than try to remake this power, these Vex decided to work with it. Now, given what we know of the Witness, was it possible these Vex were working for it? Quite possible. The Vex were already inside, swarming like insects. Off in the distance we noticed a giant wyvern, a walking Vex soldier class type, moving through corridors, seemingly also trying to get in. But we didn't have time for that. We made our way through the reactor firewall chamber and found an elevator platform. It led outside. We needed to make our way to the top, but we couldn't simply fly in. Vex were already swarming the facility, and even if we made it, we would draw too much attention. As loath as I can be to accepting stealth as a strategy, I do believe it best to understand the battlefield before you stand upon it. Making our way past Golden Age computers, tape decks, archives, Osiris pushed us on, speculating on the secrets that could lie within. We made our way outside. There was another elevator, but it had powered down. More temporal energy, converted to arc, and we climbed. There, at the height of the Spire, we saw it. A Vex Harpy Axis Mind, from the Soul Divisive. It was ignoring us. Instead, it held a Vex Minotaur in suspension, and was either siphoning off power, or perhaps attempting to convert the creature. Overhead, the skies swarmed with Vex. Harpies moved in like birds in flight, but with an uncanniness that made one dizzy if they looked too long. We didn't know what the Axis Mind was doing, but we needed it stopped. We needed the Spire clear, and our secrets, whatever they were, kept safe. One of my fire team spotted more cabling. Another spotted fuel rods at the end of the crossbeams of the Spire. A plan was formulated. Take out Vex, power the nodes connecting the cabling, drive power to the fuel rods overloading them, get the Axis Mind's attention, and take it out. Bullets, lasers, light and dark, we dodged and weaved and punched and shot our way through our enemies. Callouts were terse, but clear. I could hear everyone breathing hard. Finally, we set up a damage run. Fuel rods overloaded, Ward of Dawn engaged. The Axis Mind was upon us. Its eyes. I had forgotten. I rarely step into the garden these days and haven't faced the Soul Divisive in some time. We cleared them out, or so we thought, back during Season of Undying, and hadn't seen them since. But here it was. Larger than life, with several dozen eyes all trained on us. We took them out, lined up our linear fusion rifles, and let loose. It was intense. But we did it. However, no more than a single breath of relief was had before Osiris came over the comms. They're trying to make the reactor go critical. Get in there! A crawlway opened up. We shoved ourselves through like lagging bits of data over a fiber optic line. More vents, more crawlways, more Vex. Nodes, cables, arc energy everywhere. It was a mess. A semi-coordinated mess, but still. Typical Guardian fare, I suppose. Osiris messaged me again, a direct comlink. He was worried. Rather than the usual, overconfident confidant, here was a man who was taking stock of what he lost. He needed to find out what was going on here. Needed to prove that he still had a part to play. I reassured him as best as I could, but we were in a firefight the whole way down. With a heavy thud, my boots and my fellow Titans followed. A soft floof a moment later indicated my warlock friend had also landed. We surveyed the scene. 2 rooms, primary control in the fore, reactor room in the aft. Standing over the reactor was a wyvern. The same wyvern we had seen earlier. Performing a quick scan, Lazarus told me its name was Persis, Primordial Ruin. Thanks for that, I said. Doesn't exactly reassure me. What followed next was a harrowing battle of attrition. We, being Guardians, are hard to kill, and Persis lived up to its name, literally. Over time, we realized that we could trick the Wyvern into the reactor room by running arc energy in there and overloading the reactor. Rather than going critical, the reactor would destroy the Wyvern's shields, and we could do the rest. I'm not going to lie, Guardians, it was a tough fight. Our coordination improved over time, but Persis had so much health. Enemies kept coming, and even though they're the Vex and thus fairly predictable, it was tough not to be overwhelmed. Finally, after a grueling fight of changing strategies, last-minute sacrifices, and quick thinking, we did it. The Vex was down. The room was clear. We reconfigured the reactor, scanned the perimeter, and collected what best we could. Making our way back to the tower for a mission debrief, we thought more about what we had just seen. Soul Divisive Vex invading an old Seraph bunker? Why? What secrets could Clovis and Ishtar possibly have that would be worth the trouble? Further, if some of the Vex were now working for the Witness, which it very clearly seemed they were, why would the Witness order the Vex to the bunker? I know Golden Age tech was impressive, but what good is that against the power of the Witness? Isn't it supposed to be as powerful as the Traveler? Some say more so. What could there possibly be that required the Witness to not only care about such a bunker, but focus on it? And how was Aramis connected? Questions for another time, I suppose. For now, I plan to head back to my base, clean all of my gear top to bottom, and go over the files we recovered. I know Anna is setting up another team to go in to extract more files, and I know several other fire teams are already assembling to push the Vex back and discover more. If you are one of those fire teams, I wish you luck. And I almost feel sorry for the Vex who get in your way. That will be it for the video today, Guardians. I hope you liked this report. We will conclude this series in our next video, which will investigate and speculate on all this data we have found. Before we get there, what did you think about the Spire of the Watcher? What do you think the Vex and Witness are after? Hopefully, you're enjoying your time as Guardians and taking care of yourselves. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, I ask that you be safe, be kind, and I'll see you all next time. Bye now.